I just want to invest in people that really want to be the best that they can be. Hello everyone, it's Todd Scrima and the lovely Robyn LaVassaur. The hair looks beautiful, by the way. And Jimmie. And we send out a podcast once a month. And this is mainly for clients who know us. It could be realtors that send us business, past clients, loans that we service. And it's just, I think it's just fun to do. It's a fun give back. So we've all been professional coaches for, 20 years. We have been coached for, I know me for 27, I think Jim 24 years.
You're making me sound as old as the two of you, and for the record, I'm not. So, yeah.
I like that. It's kind of self-evident, Robyn. I mean, I got wrinkles and no hair. You got smooth skin and beautiful hair. Here we go.
Well, one of the things, guys, that we've all worked on, and I think everyone works on, is the different areas of our lives. And I don't think has to be confined to 7 areas, but most commonly I think about it as love life, family, your career or your work being number 3, your money or your financial life, yourself, which is hobbies, physical fitness, things like that, spirituality, whatever that means to you, and friends. And I know the first time that I ever did, when we teach goal setting, we'll set 2 areas for each of these areas of our lives. But the first thing we did is we rank on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, what area of your life, like, how do I feel about my love life? Well, I'm currently single, so I don't have a love life. So it's like a 2, right? So then there's an exercise as part of this where you start from the middle and say my love life is a 2, but my work life's an 8, and then you connect the dots. So for my first several years that I did that exercise called Wheel of Life, I was really out of balance. Like, I was always pretty much good with work and financial, and everything else was, depending on the last 6 months, was anything from a total disaster to a 4. One of the things that we all have these things that we're secretly proud of, that only you really know. I'm secretly proud that not all my areas, like I just said, love life is low, but I'm like a lot of those areas for me, because I've worked on it for 27 years, they're pretty full. Like there are always things to work on, but they're pretty full. And now maybe there's one area that is kind of off, right? And I got to tackle that. So I think this is a strategic discussion about life. And Jimmie, I'd love to hear from you, your thoughts about those 7 areas of life, and maybe something that you've discovered over the years.
Yeah, so for me, what you're talking about is balance, and balance is a journey, not a destination. Like me and Robyn talk about this. We get to do quite a few meetings together, and it's how you doing, how are the kids, how are all these areas, and we kind of bullet point it. But what it makes me think of is that you've never really landed and you're never really there. It's a journey. And tactically, I'm super tactical. And for me, it's like one of the things that I learned from a mentor was to do an annual calendar. Mm-hmm. So with my sons, right? So I'm a dad, I got 2 boys, and I have the best intentions, about everything, really, when I start off. But when it comes to my execution, I mean, we struggle with that all the time, Robyn, you and I, about, it's one thing about what we intend and another thing about what we execute.
Yes.
So during the holidays, it's pretty slow in our business. Usually get some family time. I carve out a couple hours and plan out the whole next year. Now, I never execute it all, Todd. Like, I'm what? What do you think, Robyn? What's the percentage of what you execute on a plan?
I think really strong, like some of the best executors or discipline holders, probably 80%. I mean, I don't think anybody does anything all the way to the 100% to a team.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. So if I get to 80%, that's like a home run. So I got the 7 areas, I got the 12 months, I got my sons, and we plan vacations first because that keeps them interested. Right? Plan all our vacations. So 3 one-week vacations, 3 long weekends, and put them in the calendar. And then I usually go to work. Usually by then because you're such a crazy man about planning. I have the next year's business plan done for what I'm going to have to do for my commitments at work. I throw those in there and then work through the different areas that you talked about and put something in each month. If I just do that and then take it to work and plug it in, the best part of it is I feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Just having a plan makes me feel better. And honestly, if I get 8 out of 10, I'm pretty happy.
You know, Jimmie, as you say, having a plan, you feel better. But the truth is, I think one of the components there that you're not saying that's there is you have a plan that reflects your priorities.
Yeah.
Right? You have a plan that reflects your priorities. I think a lot of people make plans that don't go in alignment with where their goals are at, and so they're doing a lot of things, but they're not reflective. And I know that was a big aha for me in general, looking at a calendar and saying, while I say these are the most important things to me. Now, let's be honest, I can't say family is my most important thing and then put all day family stuff and not go earn a living, right? That's not part of it. But does the rest of my time reflect that? And I think sometimes we forget to have that be reflective in maybe you don't have a calendar, maybe you're not following a calendar, maybe that's too much for you. Maybe it's just what this week's plan is in your head, and is it reflective of the things and what your priorities are? Did you make room for those? Because if you don't, you blink and we have a whole bunch of unintentional time that we're spending in life, right?
You blink and it's July 4th, right?
Yes.
You're blinking half the year is over. Like, Todd, do you remember we had an employee processor, and I used to call her the fireman because she was, for lack of a better word, she was addicted to crisis management, and she would create crisis to be the hero. And I think that I used to do that with my vacations and my whole life, because it's kind of an endorphin release, right? You get like, oh, we got to figure it out, and then, oh, we're going last minute, and you get on the plane. Wasn't that fun that we did it last minute? No, it wasn't fun. We got like 3 fights on the way to the airport, dude. And it's like fighting on the way to church. No, that's not fun. Have a little bit of a plan, and it can really, just putting it down, 12 months, 7 areas, put one thing in each month. It really makes me just have a better journey along the way.
Yeah, I'm couple of thoughts on this. It's a big subject. One tactic that I learned to do a long time ago is I have one calendar. So we use Outlook, Microsoft Outlook, and everything in my personal life is in there, and everything that my kids are doing is in there, and everything in my business life is in there, and every vacation, and everything you can think. Like, if I think, hey, I want to send someone a thank you card, I will literally be at home and put it in my calendar on my.
When you first started doing that, Todd, did it feel like handcuffs to you?
Yes, it feels smothering.
It feels like handcuffs. It feels like I'm in jail, and I resisted it for so long. Did you struggle with that?
But then don't you guys, yes, I agree with you, Jimmie, but what's so interesting about it is then there's this relief and freedom from actually remembering to, I think we give our brain more credit than what it's actually worth in terms of being able to remember to do everything and take care of everything and get everywhere. And we don't give ourselves some things that'll make it a little more fail-proof, if you will, by, you putting on a calendar. It seems like a little funny tactic, but hey, I need to send a thank you card to so-and-so. And then if you're following your calendar, your odds go up tremendously because you're following a calendar that reminds you. Otherwise, we drive around and 3 weeks later we go,
totally. And it makes you more credible.
Yeah, for sure.
I keep my word more. When I give my word, I always intend on keeping it. But really keeping it is where, sometimes we fall down.
Yeah.
On this subject, Robyn, you've been pretty vocal about 2Xing and 3Xing and 4Xing ideas. And
what's that?
Well, yeah, I want you to give people a couple examples, because I think that is I think of that all the time. I do that all the time, but I don't think most people understand the concept.
You know, you taught me this, Todd, and I'm grateful for it. And I didn't really see it this way. I think we do a lot of things unintentionally, and then when somebody can kind of put a label to it, you can get a little more intentional. And this 2x, 3x type of stuff is one of those things. And so when you think about wheel of life, you might have a few areas in your life that you are struggling in. And so, a small example would be, hey, I haven't seen my friends enough, but I also need to spend some time with my husband. Well, maybe we mesh the two and go on a couple couples dates, right? So that we can all spend time together. That's a personal 2x, right? I get to visit with my friends, and I also get the car ride there with the date, without the kids, with just my husband, right? Like, and it ends up being killing two birds with one stone. Saying we're to,
so it's like true multitasking.
True multitasking with intention. And I think that when you see things that way, my husband and I right now, we're doing this, crazy disciplined routine. And one of the things that we're doing is we wanted to exercise more. We also said we were going to be more intentional with one-on-one time together. So we literally walk every single night right now. You don't have to be that extreme, but every single night we walk for 45 minutes. We start a clock and we walk. And it's dark, and sometimes it's even raining, and we've committed to it, and we're doing it 75 days in a row. So every single night we walk together. But let me tell you, he and I were both laughing the other day, and we're like, man, it is crazy how much we've talked about over the last, we're only 17 days in, so wish me luck, people, that I'll make it all the way. But, it's fun to see where we can take this and spend some time together while getting exercise, which was one of my other goals. So there's a lot of things that you can actually double up on and check two things off the list. And I think that there's huge wins in those areas. And that leads to a more fulfilled life at the end of the day.
Just to jump in on that, Todd, you know what else it's helped me with since I started doing this annual family calendar? It's really, like you said, it's more than just family. It makes it easier for me to say no.
Yeah.
Right? Hard to say no when you don't have a plan. Right? Like you asked me to do something with the kids on Saturday, and I looked at the calendar, and we have something there. So I had to say, hey, man, I'll work on the kids and see if I can renegotiate. But right now, I got something on the calendar. And I can tell you that no is a pretty powerful word for me, because I want to do everything. I got the FOMO bug, and I want to get on this, I want to do that, and I don't want to miss out on this. But being able to say no, it makes your kids and your family feel prioritized. It makes me feel more in harmony with what I wanted to do.
In a vulnerable space there, Jimmie, I've been a very bad example of pleasing everybody. And so somebody will say, hey, do you want to go to this? Oh yeah, I'd love to be there. Oh yeah, I'd love to be there. And pretty soon my husband's like, hey, Robyn, you've got 6 commitments on Saturday and you already committed to this with us, right? Like, and so I ultimately having to make excuses or let people down, that was really the old me. So I'm with you on that. I think it's so important. I think we all feel that. And then we ultimately, sometimes we have the self-talk that we're failing, or that we're not authentic, or that, there's all these issues, or that we're not, and now I've let Todd down, so I got to go, do this. And it feels like you're constantly, balancing. I think that's why people's wheel of lives, if you will, get very out of whack. And I think that what you're saying of, hey, you know what, let me just check that calendar. Looks like we've already got something. So now, I'll try to renegotiate, but I need to stand by my word that I already set down. I think that's so powerful, what you just said.
You're talking about being overcommitting. Little weakness of mine at times, real overcommitted.
Yeah.
So switching gears on that, I got a different spin on this. And I'll never, there's things that I call magic moments. They're moments in your life where that's a before and after moment. We have them personally, but this one was in a professional setting. This is about 4 or 5 years ago. There's about 14 people in a meeting, and we're waiting for a couple other people to get there. And I always like to do a warmer-upper in the meeting. So I said, hey, what is your favorite hobby that you literally can't wait to do? And let's everyone share what that is. And I said, for example, I'm playing golf this Friday afternoon. I booked the tee time on Monday. I will think about it 10 times, 2 or 3 times a day until I get to play golf. Like, that's an example for me. I said, Mary, what's yours? I don't really have one. I didn't want to embarrass her. I'm all, hey, Cindy, what's yours? I don't really have something like that. I literally went around the room with 14 people and only 3 people had something like that.
Oh man.
And I
can't imagine that.
I got pretty outspoken. I said, listen, guys, I'm going to tell you something. We have 30 summers left, or 40 Christmases, or whatever the math is. Make it count. Like, do those things. Take that trip, get in shape, take up guitar, learn to sing, whatever that is. Like, take action with your life. And so I just wanted to say that, because when it comes to the self goals, almost everyone I've ever done this with thinks, I got to get in shape. I got to lose weight. I'm fat, whatever that is. Okay, that's where everyone goes. But there's more to the self, much more to the self than just that.
Totally.
It's living your best life. Outside
Absolutely.
of your kids and your spouse, it's you living your best life. And I got to burr up my butt about this. I'm just like, how come people don't have that? Like, it's shocking to me.
Dude, you're talking about having fun, which is my middle name. I gotta have some fun. And I'm gonna have some fun. At work, I'm gonna have some fun. I'm gonna have some fun. And I think, people just take themselves too serious, and they wake up and they miss the boat.
Yeah, let's not float through life. And so when you talk about thinking of, Robyn said it earlier, when you think about little structures like, hey, 7 areas of our life. I had someone was listening to a podcast the other day. They have 10 areas of your life. I was listening to Ed Milet, and he said, on all these goals, have one word that you're going to work on for the year on top of your goals. I thought that was a nice addition. But when you start putting some structure to some of this stuff, it's like, whoa, now we have a way of thinking about it. And then you add some tools like year-long calendar, putting your whole life into a calendar. When you work out, when you wake up, when you go home, all those things, it becomes very exciting. It's almost like a book that you can read. Robyn?
I agree. I think, Jimmie, one of the things that just because I know that this was me, I was like, year-long calendar, like, are you out of your mind? I can't see past next week,
Yeah, too much commitment, yeah.
Yeah, they felt like a bunch of commitment. Now, the truth is, like you said, there are things on that calendar that don't take place. There are things on that calendar that get moved or canceled or postponed. And I think it's important to know that, hey, life also gets in the way, right?
Yes.
Hey, we plan on doing this, but all of a sudden, we got a family member sick, or we're not feeling well, or it's been too crazy lately, or your kid made an all-star team, and all of a sudden you got to rearrange the summer for different things. It's not to put things in a box. It's actually, I think that one of the things that I think that I missed for a long time in life was that structure added freedom, right? Structure actually adds more freedom. And I didn't see it that way.
Totally.
It's just something that, man, if you're feeling like, hey, I kind of do what I want and we're figuring it out, I would challenge you that if you added some structure, it will actually add joy and freedom to your world.
Completely.
I love that. Love that. Well, guys, I hope you appreciate these little chats. I feel so fortunate because I have 2 of the best minds I've ever had the opportunity of knowing with Jim and Robyn. It's very fun to do these. I hope that you appreciate them. And what we hope is that you take one thing from this and like, hey, I'm going to do a year-long calendar. I'm going to set one goal for each area of my 7 areas. Like, take one little takeaway and do something with it, and also share this with other people. And the last thing is, remember, we're a nationwide mortgage company. We do mortgage loans. We want your loan. So if you need a cash out, or you need to buy a rental home, or you have a friend that needs to buy a house, take whoever sent this to you. It's one of our salespeople that you somehow. You probably did a loan with them. Please send us a referral. It's the biggest compliment that we can ever ask for. So, guys, thanks for taking a few minutes and listening. Jim and Robyn, thank you very much, guys. Go out and make it a great month.